the MMA podcast. And now, coming to the mic, your host, Jalen Walker.
Welcome to Pound for Pound, the MMA podcast. Jalen Walker, as always. If you're listening to us via Spotify, Apple Music, or any other streaming platform, please make sure to check us out on YouTube and hit that subscribe button. Much appreciated. Welcome to Pound for Pound. UFC Vegas 36, Brunson versus Till was a wild night. Brunson was able to tame the gorilla and make his claim at a title shot against Adesanya. Will Brunson get the fight and be able to repeat his most recent performance? Break it down. Also, the debut of Paddy Pimblett was a beauty. Paddy showed off his impressive skills in octagon TKO Victory. He also showed his showmanship with this electric post-fight interview. Great night of fights all around. We'll also get to week 2 results, Dana White's Contender series, and hear from one of this week's contract winners. We'll break it all down and much, much more. But first, a word from our sponsors at Manscaped. Attention listeners across the galaxy, all the way from Australia to Houston. Do we have a pube problem? If so, our friends at Manscaped cleared you for takeoff with the 4th generation, brand new Lawnmower 4.0. Kick your pubes to the next planet with the Performance Package 4.0. The orbits in your pants will feel like you're in 0-degree gravity when you use the best tools for the job from the leaders in male grooming. Join the 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped. Get your rocket ready for takeoff by going to manscaped.com. 20% off plus free shipping with code POUND. Ready for an out-of-the-world experience, fellas? Look no further. Package 4.0 from Manscaped. Just taken off not only in the US, Canada, UK, across Europe, Australia, South Africa, and Singapore. Inside this package, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, crop preserver ball deodorant, proper Viver toner, performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag called whole solar system. First schedule for liftoff, new Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer. This spaceship is here to guide you on your journey to trim your body, balls, butt, and Uranus. This 4th generation trimmer also features a cutting edge ceramic blade to reduce trimming accidents thanks to their advanced skin safe technology. The Lawnmower 4.0 has a 7,000 RPM motor, 2 multi, which can engage a travel lock, also even waterproof. Like I said, get 20% off plus free shipping, plus free international shipping, code POUND for POUND, Manscaped. You can also go to manscaped.com/pound for pound. Get the discount automatically. Thank you, Manscaped. All right, guys, we got a lot to talk about. First, on the show today, the guest on the show is a dynamic flyweight who had impressive TKO victory in just 41 seconds into the first round this past Tuesday, Dana White's Contender series, where he secured a UFC contract. I'd like to introduce to the podcast Cj Vergara.
What's up, everybody?
How you doing, man?
Good, brother. Thanks for having me on.
Of course, thank you for coming on, man. You had an electric fight Tuesday. Had Twitter buzzing, had the MMA community buzzing. But first off, congrats on the contract. It must feel great. What are you feeling like?
It does feel great, actually. You know, for this being such a journey to get to this point, to go in there and solidify a contract in the fashion that I did, I couldn't have pictured it to go any better myself, honestly.
Yeah, man, it was beautiful. You had a lot of people standing. Crowd was going wild. But we'll get to the fight here in a second. So you're training out of, is it Pete Spratt Muay Thai? Is that your gym?
That is correct.
Okay.
And he's affiliated with his business partner, Rodrigo Pinheiro, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Okay.
So it's like a situation going on there.
Cool. And that's in San Antonio?
Yes, exactly. Over here on the northwest side of town.
Awesome, man. Any other up-and-coming fighters out of there that we might need to hear about?
Yeah, absolutely. A long-time teammate of mine. His name is Caleb Peterite, and he's currently on the. He's a bantamweight fighter, and currently climbing the regional ranks for Fury Fighting, which is a really big organization out of Texas. I'm sure you're familiar. he had an impressive knockout win just last week, 2 weeks ago for Fury here in San Antonio. It was like a 25-second KO.
Ooh. Well, was it a kick? Was it a body strike kick?
He ended up with a head kick, and the guy folded and turned his back and turtled up for the ground and pound. It was over before it started.
What's his name?
Caleb Peterwright. That's Kaleb.
Right, awesome. I have to check it out.
For sure.
Yeah, so you mentioned Fury. You fought with a lot of organizations, including the RFA, the LFA, but most recently, Fury FC. If I'm correct, you recently won the Fury FC Flyweight Championship back in March, correct?
Yes, that is correct. I defeated Jacob Silva, who's actually also a Contender veteran.
Yep. And that was a third round TKO victory. Break down that fight a little bit for me.
So the way that fight played out, it was pretty violent. More times than not, I like to approach the fight more cerebrally, sound, using head movement, angles, reading my opponent. But this time with Jacob, there was a little bit of bad blood boiling into it. So I threw all caution to the wind and came out just like a berserker. And I got dropped in the first round twice, actually. He just touched me on the chin twice in the first like 3 minutes. But once I gathered myself and composed myself, it just kind of became a back and forth, 1 for 1, 2 for 2. And I started to land the body kick early and slowed him down. And I felt his gas tank start to give in the third round. So I applied more and more pressure, and I was able to find a cross from southpaw. And didn't let him off the hook that second time. I dropped him also in the second round with a jab, but that third round when I landed that cross, I didn't let him off the hook. Just finished ground strikes.
Yeah, it seemed like it was a battle. I saw some of your pictures on Instagram, and I got a little bit of glimpses of the fight. But man, that's huge. Congrats. Fury is no joke. Being the champion in that organization, you know what I mean? That's something people should look at. And they did, and you got your shot at the Contender Series and got your contract deservingly. But you have 9 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw. Other than your Contender Series fight, what has been your most memorable fight, bro?
That's a great question. I would say the most memorable fight for me was my first fight with LFA. Before LFA, it was LFC, before LFC and RFA merged.
Yep.
I had a fight for them in 2013, and I was on the preliminary card, so it wasn't technically televised, but it was a first round KO. And I remember the electricity of feeling that the cameras and that step up in production for the first time as a young pro. That one really stuck with me because I felt a different side of me come alive when the cameras
turned
on. You know? That really brought a new performance out of me that night.
Yeah, and that was a TKO victory in the first round, 2 minutes and 43 seconds against Jonathan Ramirez. Is that how you pronounce his name? Ramirez?
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great. I actually looked at some of that fight, and it's funny you bring that fight up. But yeah, a lot of these fighters that I have on, they do say, like, once they get to the station, when a lot of people, like, they feel like they hit into a new gear. Like, they're ready to throw down, they're ready to show what they got. Whole different environment. And it sounds like that's what you're saying also. Any other fights that stand out for you?
My fight against what was his name? It was June 21st, 2019. It was a rematch that
Emerson David Garcia, whatever.
Yeah. Yes. That fight, I was really able to put my boxing together. I've been training in boxing since 2011 down here in San Antonio, James Leha. And that fight, I was working off my jab more than I ever had before, and my head movement was extremely sound. I only got hit maybe 4 or 5 times the whole fight. I felt a new sense of awareness during that fight that I hadn't felt before that. I was able to touch up on 4 or 5 punch combinations as opposed to just one shot at a time. So that fight really sticks out to me as well because I was able to tap into the boxer style that I always wanted to tap into. The way Cody Garbrandt moves his head so well.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you have a ton of TKO victories, you know what I mean? You have, I think, like 1 or 2 submissions, something like that. One of them was a rear naked choke. But yeah, man, like, you got the hands, you got the boxing, and you've been working with your Muay Thai. So, like, I mean, to me, you're all around just becoming like a dynamic fighter. That showed Tuesday. As I mentioned, this past Tuesday on Dana White's Contender Series, you defeated Bruno Mesquita with a very impressive TKO victory in the first round to secure your UFC contract. That fight ended in 41 seconds. a knee to the body that just shut him down. Break down the fight start to finish. Were you nervous going into the fight? Were you excited? Were you pumped? What were your feelings?
The morning of the fight, I wasn't able to get a full night's rest because I was so nervous. The gravity of the situation really settled in. I was at a crossroads in my career where I realized this fight is make or break for me. Not to say that if I lost against Bruno, I would never fight again, but it would look a lot. It would, the road would look a lot more. The terrain would still be rough. I'd come back home and fight for Fury a few more times before I get that shot again. So I was very nervous that morning, and I'm usually not nervous the morning of the fight. However, as the fight approached and I got to the apex and I started to settle into the moment, I began to compartmentalize what was real and what wasn't. I try not to absorb my thoughts with what could happen or what may not happen. I remain present. I focus on my breathing. I focus on what's in front of me at the moment. So when I got the call from production letting me know that I was 10 minutes from walkout, I did my standard breathing technique, my breathing exercises. I do 100 breaths with a different tempo, and I shut everything out. I stayed present in the moment, and I really wanted to absorb it, man, because it was such a special experience for me, and I didn't want any of that to pass by with anxiety or fear of what might go wrong. So when the walkout happened, I was just so present. And another thing that you can't really tell from the TV is that it's so quiet inside of it.
I have a lot of people from Contender Series say that.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, it's like in there, dude. I swear it's so quiet. So and then Herb Dean was my referee.
Yeah.
Also, I was fanboy. He walked into the pool. Awesome. And he's like, I need you to. All right, bro.
Yeah, he's a legend in himself. You know what I mean? It's Herb Dean.
Man, it was so when the fight starts, the game plan was follow the angle to the left because this guy loves his spinning heel kicks. And he loves them to the body and the head. And he's a fast kicker. His highlight reel is really nice.
Yeah.
So the put pressure on the Taekwondo guy because they do like to fight backwards, but at their own pace and at their own range. So I put him in a Muay Thai range, continue to follow the angle to the left, while keeping my head on that swivel that you noticed, and put a stiff jab in his face, and off of that jab, work the check hook. And that's going to open the right hand. Sure enough, when I slapped that first check hook, he was able to block it. It opened up the right hand. And right hand touched it, put him on alert, and he felt that right hand. So then of course he throws a flying knee. But since I had been throwing my head off the swivel the whole time, I was able to slip it. And shortly after that, he throws that spinning heel kick I was looking for. And when I blocked that spinning heel kick, I felt a shift in his confidence immediately. And so I really started the pursuit after that. I landed a left hook and then initiated a plum clinch. I threw a left knee to the body, and as the break happened, I threw a right hook, which dropped him. And then I secured that front headlock. I thought about a guillotine, but honestly, I really wanted a knockout for this fight. So I was able to secure half a Nelson situation from a Thai clinch. And my coach and I have drilled that left knee so many times over the years. So it was almost a subconscious thing that I did, just to throw it at that spot.
Yeah, for sure, man. And I mean, everything you're saying perfectly matches up with what we saw. It was absolutely fantastic. It was an electric fight. Feel the energy. And I wanted to say, it's funny that you mentioned the no crowd. I've had a decent amount of Contender Series fighters on here. And Jared Vendera was talking, and he was fighting there when it was like COVID, and they wouldn't allow anybody there. Just
wow.
Yeah, and he was like, it was such a different environment. Like, everything you can hear each foot on the canvas, hear the camera shutters. Like, it's a whole different environment. And like it's I'm curious to know, like, is it like, what's the main thing that's going through your head when you're fighting in a different environment? Like,
I like to dramatize things in my head because it makes it feel like I'm in a movie when I'm fighting. So really, I just treated this like it was Mortal Kombat, and Dana White is Shang Tsung. You know what I'm saying? And so just walking out, I personally liked that intimacy of no walkout song, no introduction. It's just you and the fighter. I felt like a true prize fighter, like a gladiator inside of that cage in there. Like you said, you can hear the feet sliding on the canvas. It's such, that shit is romantic, bro. It's like deep experience with your opponent. So to me, I embraced that. And also I took it as, this may be the last time I experience something like this. Now, of course, Apex does fights all the time, and there's not always a lot of crowds, but it being specific to no introductions and no walkout music, I was all about it, man. I enjoyed it. And it made it just, the intensity was even more extreme, as if there was a crowd there. I feel like it was more extreme without it.
Yeah, for sure. That's what I've heard a lot. Do you prefer fighting like that, or do you prefer having a huge crowd, everything's drowned out, it's the fighter? You know what I mean? What do you prefer?
Honestly, I haven't fought in front of a giant crowd before. I think the most I've fought in front of is maybe 2,000-3,000 people. So, but I love the crowd, man. I'm a people pleaser. You know, I have like Daniel and Cormier was saying, that fan friendly style. So for me, when I hear the crowd doing its chanting stuff, and just like that Coliseum vibe comes alive, and these people are bloodthirsty, you know, that brings everything, like the warrior spirit just awakens within me. So I can't wait to fight in front of a crowd. I know
Yeah,
that
man.
I'm gonna shine under those lights when it's time.
Yeah, and there's something about you that you got that like it factor when it comes to like the entertainment factor. I mean, like even your interview with Laura Senko and just your post fight press conference, like there's just something, you got it. You know what I mean? Like you're enjoyable to listen to, and you're enjoyable to watch fight. Like it was one of my favorite fights tonight, and we are looking forward to seeing you fight even more. Was there a different? So going into the LFC 23 fight, that there was a whole bunch of cameras, you felt like it was different. Was there a different feeling from that fight compared to walking into Dana White's Contender Series at the Apex in Las Vegas?
Yes, there was a different feeling, and that different feeling. First of all, thank you, by the way, for that compliment, saying that it was one of your favorite fights of the night. I appreciate that. But to get back to what you asked, the difference for me was the comforts of being at home. You know, when that fight for LFC, it was in San Antonio, and all of my people were here, so the crowd was chanting CJ, CJ. So like, you know, I have a huge following here in San Antonio, um, and I knew that eventually that wasn't gonna be the factor. And I always wondered with myself, you know, how am I going to respond when the time comes? Of course, it's easy to say like, oh, it's gonna be cake, but it's not always that way. You know, we can't prepare for things that we've never experienced in that sense. So the difference was not being at home, you know, flying out to the desert and the air is different.
Yeah.
It's just, but like I said, man, there was something poetic about the experience. It did feel different, but as far away from home that I never felt more in my element than I did on the Dana White's Contender Series.
What's up, man? That's dope. I mean, yeah, I hear that a lot. And it makes sense. I mean, it's the UFC. It's pretty much safe to say that most fighters fighting in today's combat sport want to be in the UFC. They want to make it to the top. You know what I mean? Um, so it doesn't surprise me that it felt different than other organizations. So when do you think you're gonna try to get back in the octagon? You talked to the matchmakers? Have you talked to your manager? Reached out? When are you looking? Later this year? What's your timetable?
If it was up to me, I would like to fight in November. I was put on a mandatory 4-day suspension, so I think that's up today. So I'm imagining, I don't know, I'm still new to this part of the game, so I'm not sure how that's going to work.
Hmm.
But if I could map it out for myself, I would like to fight early November. You know, get another quick finish, and then have a quick turnaround fight again in January,
Yeah.
and close the year off with 3 wins.
Yeah, for sure. I was like watching you fight and looking at some of your highlights, and to me, I know it's a little early for a top 15 fight, but for some reason, I just feel like you versus Tyson Nam would be such an electric fight. Like I feel like both you guys will have equal sides of striking. I mean, he's a great fighter, you're a great fighter, and I feel like that'd be a good uh like welcome to the flyweight division for you. And as a fan of the UFC, I feel like that would just be an explosive fight. What do you think about that fight?
Isn't he number 15?
Yeah, yeah, he's exactly number 15.
Yes, yes, yes. I actually like that. It's funny you say that. Just the other night after I won, my brother and I were looking over at the rankings, and I made a checklist of the guys that I really wanted to fight, and he was on
Oh, yeah,
that list.
that's what's up. Who are some of the other fighters?
My dream fight at 125 is Kai Kara France.
Ooh, that would
Honestly,
be a
I'm a
crazy
fan.
fight.
Like So like, I think he's super cool, and plus he trains with Adesanya.
Is he?
So,
Yeah.
like, I'm jealous about that.
Did he kickboxing had a great night when they were fighting? Yeah.
Yeah. When I watch him put his stuff together, I've always wanted to be on the other side of that, because he can put punches and kicks together. His wrestling's nice as well. He's just an all-around solid fighter. So that fight really excites me. Joseph Benavidez would be an honor to fight him too.
Legend of the flyweight. He was doing it before the flyweights were popular.
Yeah, exactly, man. And it wasn't until I saw Joseph and Uriah fight that I realized, oh, I can actually do this. What they got guys out here, so Davison Figueiredo, because he's a savage. He's he's like carved out of the jungle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, it's like he stepped off of from some canopy somewhere in the jungle. So, and then of course, all roads lead to the champion. But then Brandon Royval, of course, is another super electric fighter.
Yep.
I will say I would be a little bit I would have to take a sigh of like, fuck, if I had to fight Tim Elliott.
Yeah, Tim Elliott is one of my top fighters, and yeah, that'd be a crazy fight. I've had some of his teammates come on and talk about it, and yeah, man, he's a different breed. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I've heard he punches hard. That's what I've heard.
Yeah, man, he looks like a wood chipper. Like the way that guy just looks like, even if I beat him by knockout in the first round, I'd need a month off or something.
Yeah, 100%.
It's
like fighting Gaethje. They say that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's a good way to put it. Flyweight Gaethje.
Yeah. So yeah, like we just got into a little bit, but the UFC's flyweight division, it was almost cut from the company. But you got the champ Brandon Moreno, who seems unstoppable at this point, and you got Figueiredo right there beside him. Those two have really taken the flyweight division to a whole nother level. What's gonna separate you from all the other top 15 fighters and all the other flyweight fighters in the division?
I would say my willingness to adapt and evolve every day. I don't attach myself to one specific style of fighting. I very much flow through the entire experience of martial arts, and I'm constantly looking to add to my arsenal, but I'm also constantly looking to release something from my arsenal, something that no longer serves me. I think so many times fighters are always need more. They want more. They want more. They want more, and their cup is always so full. So I try to approach training as a Bruce Lee empty your cup situation. So my ability to adapt and evolve, in the day-to-day motions through fighting is going to allow me to create a separation with my competition over time.
I mean, yeah, I don't think you could have gave a better answer. I mean, I'm excited to see where the flyweight division goes. I mean, it is a strong division, but now with the Contender series and fighters like yourself coming in UFC and getting these contracts, it's taking it to a whole nother level. Like, I know the top 15 might be sweating a little bit after seeing your fight. But yeah, man, I would love to see you fight Tyson Nam or Kai Kara France or anyone in the top 15. I think it would be an explosive fight. But yeah, man, you look great on Tuesday. Is there anything you wanted to plug or shout out on the podcast?
Is there anything? I'm trying to think. I mean, not necessarily, man. I don't have any plugs right now. You guys can follow me on Instagram at Cj Vergara 91 or on Twitter at Cj Vergara 1991. Actually, if I could plug Bad USA, that's another Instagram y'all could follow. Bad USA clothing and apparel. It's one of my homies' clothing company, and him and I are coming together and collaborating for a lot of cool designs for merchandise and whatnot.
Awesome, man. Yeah. Was that what you were posting on Instagram the other day?
Yeah. We actually just collaboration, and we made the drop yesterday. We're doing pre-orders right now, so I figured, man, I might as well ride this wave out and just drop all the merch right now while people still care. Cool, because I got people from New Zealand hitting me up and Australia and looking to buy merch. So I think it's gonna be cool to have threads on people across the planet.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to snag some of that. Hey, send me the link for that if you don't mind.
Absolutely, brother. I appreciate you.
But yeah, man. I mean, great fight. Like I said, I can't praise you enough. Wonderful victory. I don't think it could have been a better way to kick off your UFC career. Appreciate you coming on the show today. But yeah, man, wonderful fight. Congrats on being in the UFC. I think we're all excited to see what we're gonna do in the flyweight division. Anything else you got?
No, man, just keep your eyes on me because I'm on the way up, buddy. I really, really appreciate you having me on here. I'm looking forward to maybe doing this again sometime. All right, and I wish you the best on your podcast adventures. I'll be listening.
Appreciate it, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, and send me a text when you find out your fight. I'm really curious on who you're gonna fight.
One question: do you have an Instagram for your podcast? I was trying to plug it on my IG right now, but I couldn't find it.
I do, but I just stick with my personal one. You know what I mean? I just
Cool.
I funnel everything through there. It's just more eyes on that account.
And what was your Instagram?
JAY_walk. So J walk
Okay.
with.
Well, I'm gonna plug it on my. I plugged the YouTube snap a screenshot of the YouTube, but I'm just gonna plug your IG if that's cool with you.
Yeah, 100%, man. I appreciate that so much, and I'm gonna put all your links in the description and stuff like that.
Dope, man. I appreciate you for that.
Awesome. Well, I'm about to break down these past week of fights. I appreciate you coming on, man. Everyone, Cj Vergara. See, man. Thank you. Man, great fighter, a great guy, great personality. Appreciate him coming on the show. Yeah, I'm looking forward to see what he's gonna do in the UFC, in the flyweight division. It's becoming a stack division for sure. So adding him to the mix is gonna make everything a little bit more interesting, and I'm excited to see what. Yeah, for 1 second, I wanted to take a second, and I wanted to acknowledge 20th anniversary of 9/11. I just wanted to take a moment of silence for all the fallen men and women that died during those events. Appreciate your heroic efforts, and we appreciate you, and you will always be in our memories. So thank you, and rest in peace. All right, so Cj Vergara, Dana White's Contender Series Week 2. We'll get to his fight in a second. Welterweight fight, we had Josh Quinlan, who defeated Logan Urban via TKO with 47 seconds in the first round. Josh ended up with a UFC contract. And then we had Chidi Nokuani defeated Mario Souza, and that was TKO via elbows. That was the third round, 1 minute and 35 seconds. Chidi did get a UFC contract from that win. Then at bantamweight, we had Saman Oliveira, who defeated Jose Alday, and that was a split decision win, 29-28, 28-29, 29-28. Oliveira did receive UFC contract. And then we had Cj Vergara defeating Bruno Correa with TKO with the knee to the body. That was the first round, 41 seconds, as we mentioned. CJ received a UFC contract, well deservingly. And at bantamweight, we had Chad Anhauger, who defeated Muin Gafurov, I believe is how you pronounce it. That was a split decision win, 29-28, 28-29, 29-28. Chad received a UFC contract also. 2 weeks in a row, 5 contracts. Dana White's Contender Series on a roll, bringing 10 fighters in to the UFC this past 2 weeks. And there's going to be more. We got 7 more weeks, baby. We're going to break it down. We'll have more of those fighters on the show to talk to them and break down their fights like we did with Cj Vergara. I'm excited. I love when Contender Series is on, man. It's some of my favorite fighting. It really is. Yeah. Enough of that. Let's break down UFC Vegas 36. Derek Brunson versus Darren Till. I mean, is there anything else? Like, we'll get to Derek Brunson in a second. Actually, let's hit up Paddy Pimblett. Paddy Pimblett comes into this fight, one of the most hyped debuts in the UFC in a long time. Immediately on the main card, opening up the main card, he comes out. Luigi's piecing him up. Luigi's showing that there's a reason a lot of people picked him also. You know what I mean? But very quickly, like around the 3-minute mark, Paddy turned it up. And Paddy fights so interesting. Like, he fights from the waist. You know what I mean? He brings those punches up. Very unpredictable. But when he lands, and he doesn't stop. You know what I mean? He does a lot of things that a lot of fighters don't do. They're patient. And they try to wait for that one strike. Paddy just throws. And he lands most of the time. That's what makes him such a dynamic fighter. He won that fight first round in 4 minutes and 25 seconds with a TKO against Luigi. Fantastic fight. Looking forward to see what he's going to do in weight division. Electric speaker, electric post-fight interview. Yeah, just what a guy. That's what I'll say. What a guy. The next fight was light heavyweight. Modesto Bukakas was defeated by Khalil Roundtree. That was a second round TKO at 2 minutes and 30 seconds. That takes Khalil Roundtree Jr. to 10-5 in the UFC. And then we had Alex Morono. He won via decision against David Zawada. That took Alex to 20-7 with no contest at the welterweight division. And then what a lot of people have been talking about, Tom Aspinall. What a win over Sergey Spivak. He won that fight in the first round at 2 minutes and 30 seconds. A TKO victory that take Aspinall to 11-2 in the heavyweight division. He's on the rise, man. Watch out for Tom Aspinall, for real. And then the main event of the night, Derek Brunson taking on Darren the Gorilla Till. I mean, what else can we say? Derek Brunson, he proves that he's not a gatekeeper over and over, but it's so hard not to say he's a gatekeeper. I hope he gets a fight against Adesanya. I hope it goes the distance. I hope we show from it. I mean, Brunson is such a dynamic fighter. He can knock people out. His wrestling is superb. He secured a submission rear naked choke on Darren Till in the third round at 2 minutes and 13 seconds. I think by now we gotta respect Derek Brunson. No more gatekeeping talk. This man is here for a championship run, and he has the arsenal to do it. Now, do I think he can beat Adesanya? We'll get to that another day. You know what I mean? But at the moment here, let's give him where credit is due. Brunson put on a show. Darren Till is an insane fighter. And you got to give it to Derek. Like, he did what he needed to do, and he got the job done. Darren Till, I saw a video after the fight. He was very candid. He was saying something like he was scared. He was actually scared to get in there. He was trying to think of a way to fake an injury. And in my mind, that's crazy for Darren Till to say. And so if Derek Brunson is doing that to the mental psyche of Darren Till, I can only imagine what he could possibly do to Adesanya. Adesanya is stone strong mind. But if Brunson can get in Adesanya's head, get him scared like he scared Darren Till, Brunson has a chance to be the champion in the middleweight division. Like, I really think he could get the job done. It's going to be a hard job to complete against Adesanya, but I personally think he can knock that out, win that title. But it will be an epic fight if it happens. I'm looking forward to it. A lot of people are. But man, great week of fights. There's no UFC tonight, unfortunately. I know it sucks. But next week, let me pull up the card. Next week we got Anthony Smith versus Ryan Spann, and then Ion Cutabella versus Devin Clark is the co-main event. And then a veteran of our show, Nicholas Mata, will be fighting Jim Miller, lightweight division. Really excited to see Nicholas back in the cage. He's a great guy, man. So we're gonna be rooting for him for sure. I love Jim Miller, but Nicholas got to get that win. I hope you're watching too, bud. But yeah, man. Looking forward to next week's fights, and then 2 weeks from today, September 25th. Holy shit! UFC 266. Alexander Volkanovski versus Brian Ortega for the featherweight title. Valentina Shevchenko versus Lauren Murphy for the women's flyweight title. Nick Diaz makes his return against Robbie Lawler. Then we got Curtis Blades against Jairzinho Rosenstruck. And then starting the main card out, we got Jessica Andrade versus Cynthia Calvillo. Holy shit. UFC 2 is going to be insane. Hold on. It'll be here in the blink of an eye. But tune in next week. We'll break down the Anthony Smith versus Ryan Spann fights. And we'll probably have another fighter from the Contender series on. Just stay tuned on social media and all that. You guys hear all about it. But I think that's pretty much it for today, guys. Appreciate you guys being here. Cj Vergara, man, great talking to you. Looking forward to see what you're going to do in the flyweight division. Great fight. I mean, Dana White's Contender series and UFC Vegas 36. It was a great week of fights. Looking forward to Saturday. So, I mean, nothing else really here, guys. Jalen Walker. Thanks for watching. See you guys next week. Peace.